Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and this is our weekly TV news show. Although it's been a few weeks admittedly since the last one, but we're back, we're here, and we've got renewals, cancellations, orders, series orders, pilot orders, all sorts of things to talk about. And a couple of things from a few weeks ago, but most of this news comes from the last 2 weeks, so we're going to dive into it and see what stuff's there to be discussed. At least one thing I will have nothing to say on, but I put it in there because I know Connor's going to want to talk about it, so we'll get into that very, very soon. So we'll kick off. That's actually, it's funny, one might accuse me of recency bias here with the headline, but honestly, this thing that broke earlier does seem like one of the bigger things, which is the casting for She-Hulk, which was announced just earlier tonight. Tatiana Maslany from Orphan Black is going to be playing the lead role. That's a big get. Everyone seems to love her. I've seen one season of that show and she was very good. I mean, she played a lot of roles in that show.
Yeah, I've not watched Orphan Black, but I mean, I've only ever heard good things about her. So, yeah, I mean, I'm surprised if this is one of the biggest things of the week. Then a bit of a lower key last few weeks, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think it's a exciting bit of casting. Maybe another example. Again, if did they ever actually nab Steinfeld for
not officially
Hawkeye?
But
No?
I think it's still expected,
Okay.
and they just haven't announced it yet.
I'm just saying they seem to have a really good track record of getting solid cast members for the roles.
Yeah, they have money.
Well, yeah, but they still have to make the right choices. Like, so many people
They
don't
do,
make
yeah.
the right choices, and I think, say what you will about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, for the most part, there's been very few examples of miscasting or poor choices being made. A couple of notable ones, but given how many movies and how many shows they've had to fill up with people,
Yeah, overall, they're doing. I mean, quality is irrelevant. Just in terms of casting, overall not bad. I mean, casting's such a unique department that even in things that I despise, I can talk about good casting, like
Yeah.
Henry Cavill.
good example. Not Marvel though, admittedly, before everyone points that out in the comments.
Yeah.
Next up, Doom Patrol got renewed for season 3 officially over the last
Thank God.
couple of weeks. Yes, obviously we were hoping for this. We wanted more Doom Patrols.
We were borderline expecting it.
Yes, but a little terrified that maybe the universe would not give us what we want. So
That would be 2020, wouldn't it?
yeah, so no, not much to say. But season 3 is coming, and couldn't be more excited for it. So happy news. Also renewed, and this is one that we were not particularly caring about continuing, because we did the pilot recently. But Raised by Wolves has been renewed for a second season at HBO Max. And worth mentioning as well that Doom Patrol was also HBO Max because it's not DC Universe anymore. Just in case,
Exclusively HBO Max.
Yeah.
Because obviously season 2 was on both.
yeah. So just in case there was any confusion there. So yeah, this is the Ridley Scott produced, and he directed the first couple of episodes. Sci-fi. We weren't super into. It wasn't the worst thing ever, but definitely on the dry side, I think. We would say.
I've seen a lot of praise for it on Twitter, and I mean, I don't get it personally. I mean, that happens with the show every so often, but hey, I guess people are enjoying it.
If people, I mean, yeah, but they may have watched more of it and were rewarded for their
Quite possibly.
patience, I suppose. But it's coming. They get more of it. So, and maybe HBO Max are just determined to renew all of their first run stuff, because if they cancel things, then it's all just going to be
looks
season
bad,
ones again.
yeah.
So
We've seen this before. Netflix, Amazon, Hulu. They all did this.
yep. Next up, something ending here, and that is The Walking Dead. Season 11 of the show will be its final season, although immediately they're saying, but we're looking at spin-offs for these two characters.
Yeah, what's this? There's a Walking Dead Twitch thing now going on that I saw earlier today that I didn't look into because I've been busy, but I saw the headline.
They're just streaming old episodes. It's nothing.
Is that all it is? Because it was like the headlines making a whole big deal about it.
I mean, yeah, there's a Twitch channel, and it was just like the 3 shows they've got. Because remember, there's a third show which, Walking Dead: The World Beyond or something like that. Whatever the new one's called.
I don't know. AMC said it will produce live original programming with fans able to interact via Twitch.
That's not a TV
So they're
show.
doing stuff on it as well as The Walking Dead. But yeah,
Yeah, but it's not a TV show, so...
No, it's not. It's not. I saw all this earlier today and didn't read the headline. Or only read the headline, I should say.
Yeah, so Walking Dead's finally coming to an end, but we've still got 2 other shows, of course, going. They're planning more spin-offs of some of the
just what the world needs.
Some of the more popular characters, and they still have those TV movies to do with Rick. So even though
I forgot about those.
Even though the main show is technically ending after a very long run, there's actually going to be more Walking Dead content on TV than there was in the first half of its run. So
you won't notice anything, basically.
Yeah, so I'm very ambivalent towards the whole thing, but there you go. So cancellations, though, we have Stumptown got cancelled. Kobe Smulders' show from ABC. They're going to maybe shop it around elsewhere.
This is one that's notable because this was renewed for season 2, but then got cancelled because of the current situation with everything that's going on. They re-cancelled it, basically. So sucks for everyone who works on that show who thought they had, another year's job lined up at least, nice and safe. Yeah,
unfortunately, it's something we've seen a little bit from Netflix. They sort of, changed their mind on a couple of shows because of everything. It was bound to happen to a few more, especially in the network space.
Yeah,
it sucks. There's not really much to add to it. It's unfortunate. It's one that I didn't feel compelled to watch any more of after the pilot, but it's a bad reason for something to be cancelled, especially when it's like an addendum. It's like, we have to correct that.
It's one thing when a show get cancelled because of low viewership. It's like, yeah, all right, you tried. It's frustrating when a show gets cancelled because of bad management, which is different. But looking at classic examples such as Fox, poor management decisions leading to cancellations. Naming no names, of course. But then you have this where this is no one's fault, and it's just, well, what can you do? And it sucks for the fans of that show, obviously, but I do feel way worse for the cast and crew who they should have been starting shooting any time for a season 2 at this point of the year. They would have been organizing their lives for the next year, in terms of finances around, okay, I'm in a stable job for a year, and then all of a sudden nothing. That's shit.
Yeah. Next up, I didn't watch this because I didn't care, but The Mandalorian season 2 had a trailer, so I'm going to let Connor talk for about 30 seconds and then move on quickly.
It did. It looked good. It looked like more Mandalorian. Some hints of things, little snippets, a couple of X-Wings. We definitely see Tatooine, some Banthas. A planet which may be Ilum. There's some speculation it's half. I'm leaning towards Ilum. Looks like it's en route to becoming Starkiller Base. It's starting to play in some of those things that we have extrapolated from other media. But it looks like it's going to dive into some of those things. There was I believe there's a wrestler in this one, some wrestler woman who Pete might know better than me, whose name I'm forgetting.
A wrestler woman.
I'm assuming Pete just saw it on Twitter because wrestler woman.
I did not see it on Twitter.
It was everywhere. I don't know her name. She was in the trailer for a couple of seconds. There's a lot of speculation about whether or not she is a certain character from Rebels, perhaps. But I don't know anything about wrestling, so clearly I don't even know who this person is. I don't know what she's like, so I have no opinion on that, which is contrary to the rest of Twitter, which had very strong opinions on this, apparently. I'm sorry, I don't know her name, and it's frustrating me.
There you go.
I remember it.
Sasha Banks is in season 2.
There you
go. Matt will be especially upset he didn't know her name, quite frankly.
Will he? Why is that?
She's like his favourite.
Okay. Well, Matt knows I don't listen to him, so it's fine.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. No, it looked good, and they said it was going to be more serialized this year, apparently, so I'm interested.
All right. Next up, we got a premiere date for Industry, which is HBO's series about bankers. Series follows a group of ambitious young bankers navigating the cutthroat and toxic inner workings of corporate banking, and it is going to debut on November 9th. So
please tell me that's from someone interesting, because that sounds not particularly compelling.
Created by Mickey Down and Conrad Kay, who I do not know.
No, me either. That's not gonna say concerning, but doesn't leave me enthused.
Sometimes HBO will have like a sly kind of like smaller thing that ends up being quite good.
No, they can. But you read that description to me, and I'm like, okay, you've got to sell me.
The cut.
And I know you we say this all the time. You know, you can read Breaking Bad's description like that, and it'll sound boring. And do you know what? Maybe this is the next Breaking Bad for all I know, but it still sounded like a boring description.
Yeah, maybe. Next up, we got a trailer for Moonbase 8, the Showtime comedy, which is coming on November 8th. This is John C. Reilly, Tim Heidecker, Fred Armisen. So, yeah, trailer for this one. This is essentially a comedy about a sort of team of wannabe astronauts who want to prove that they can go to the moon by essentially pretending they're on the moon, by having just like a sort of fake base somewhere in a desert or something like that. And that's the premise. What did you think of the trailer?
Terrible. I mean, it's possible that I'm just tired today. It's been a long day for me, and it's possible that that's all it is. But I watched this and I just sat there with a blank stare on my face for 2-ish minutes. I didn't crack a smile once.
Do you know what the sad part is I was kind of indifferent to the trailer. I wasn't annoyed at it. I wasn't particularly laughing at it. I think it's possible that it could be actually quite good. But I will say that I actually love the premise. I love the premise of a team of, like, you know, idiots trying to prove that they can, like, cut it out. Like, you know, basically doing stuff that you'd see in The Martian, where it's a group of people just pretending and having the suits on and doing stuff, but they're actually okay. They're fine. They're on Earth. But yeah. I like that premise a lot. I hope that this is better than maybe the trailer gave me confidence for. But
it worried me as a trailer for a comedy, because even in, like, you know, comedies that don't make me laugh a lot in the trailers, they at least make me smile. And you said you felt indifferent. I get, no, indifference is a fair reaction to when I was actually watching it. But for a comedy trailer, that's a bad reaction to have. Obviously
worse than actual annoyance, but
no, that's true. It didn't annoy me, but I just thought this was painfully unfunny to just sit there and watch unfold for 2 minutes.
That's fair. So no. So that's Moonbase 8, November 8. Oh, that's easy to remember. November 8, Moonbase 8. Easy peasy.
Probably why they picked that date.
Yeah, 11 p.m. So the time's not 8, but
so it is in one time zone or another somewhere in the world. Probably.
Actually, yeah, if it's 8 Eastern, then Pacific, we'll get it at 8. So the Pacific time's really easy to remember.
There you go.
The West Coast have got an advantage. Next up, release date, or premiere date, I should say, for Ryan Murphy's next Netflix show. And by next, we mean after Ratched, which we're actually going to be looking at tomorrow at the time of recording. But this is The Prom. And I'd forgotten this existed, I'll be honest. I couldn't have told you what this was.
I mean, that's a Ryan Murphy title if ever there was one.
It's got a hell of a cast, though. You got Meryl Streep, James Corden, Nicole Kidman, Keegan-Michael Kay.
I'm going up and down, because Meryl Streep, sure, yeah. But then James Corden, oof.
Yeah. So it's based on his play, I think, or someone's play. They debuted on Broadway in 2018. It tells the tale of 4 Broadway actors who visit an Indiana town to help out a lesbian student barred from bringing her girlfriend to the prom. So, there you go.
Was Meryl Streep in the Broadway production? Because that sounds like it could have been a thing.
This sounds, yeah. December 11th is the date, which is the news. Just for the actually getting to the part that's actually the news of the story.
Netflix being kept afloat by Ryan Murphy content they had.
Apparently, yeah. Yeah. So, there you go. That's actually, what's interesting here is it says, actually, let me just apologize here. This is actually a movie, not a TV show. Why? It's in the TV section, though. This is not me looking in the wrong section. This is them putting this, like...
Deadline or Variety? Name and shame.
Deadline. It's Deadline. Interestingly, though, it does say here, the film will be Murphy's first under his new deal with Netflix, which snapped him up after he left Fox. I think that's kind of funny because he's already had like 3 shows, so it just tells you that he was already making like several things with them before the first look deal actually kicked in.
Unless they do mean it'll be his first film with Netflix.
Oh, I guess.
Because
that's a bit of a technicality in the way they phrased it, but yeah, that might.
Ratched surely was after that deal. Surely.
I would have said the same about The Politician. to be honest. Like, that was a while
Yeah,
ago.
I thought The Politician was, but I mean, that one I could buy maybe was just before it was. That's what led to the deal, but.
Well,
yeah, I think there being a technicality there and referring to the film.
Well, this news segment has been a shambles from start to finish.
Waste of time.
Next up, Young Justice, which was already renewed, but we've got a title for its renewal. It's called Young Justice Phantoms Season 4, which is... Actually, what's this on? Is this on HBO Max?
Yeah, everything is now.
Yeah. Well,
everything that was on DC Universe is...
Yeah. I was just wondering that this one might be different because it's a cartoon. Like, maybe they might have put this somewhere else.
While we're talking about, DC Universe and cartoons, I'll just interject here really quickly.
Sure.
Harley Quinn has not had a season 3 renewal yet, unlike everything else. Apparently, it's down to it's awaiting contract negotiations. I really hope it gets it. I really need this show. It's so good. Also, it might not be relevant to the future of this news show anymore because there's not really any TV shows left on DC Universe, but we are expecting official news on the future of DC Universe sometime next week, according to Jim Lee.
Oh yeah, they promised that, didn't they?
So, who knows?
Yeah, I imagine that will even be brought up in this show because it wouldn't be TV related in any way, shape, or form.
It likely won't. And as of right now, I think Titans season 3. I'm assuming that's still coming to DC Universe, but I'm not even certain.
I don't know.
Anymore.
I think that might have moved as well.
They've been kind of coy on that one and not actually said. It's the only one that we don't know for sure, though.
Yeah, as far as Harley Quinn goes, it's probably dead. It's dead, Jim.
Don't you dare.
She can't take it, Captain. She can't take it.
I will not stand for this.
The ship is going to go. The warp drive is malfunctioning, Captain.
It is. I see. I can't even quite say it's the best thing because Doom Patrol, but it's so close. It is so close to being the best thing from that came out of DC Universe.
All right, let's move on to the shows. Oh, I will take this time actually to thank our Patreon producers for the month of. Oh, that's a weird place for that to go, but okay. So thank you to Tyler Hess, Cindy Palisades, David Short, Bordnow, Al Tribesman, Christopher Moy, and Brett Williams. They're our Patreon producers for the month of September. That means they're $20 or above on patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, but you can, of course, support everything we do for as little as $1 per month and get some bonuses for your trouble, as well as more stuff at the $5 and $10 tiers, of course. You can support us for free, though. Don't feel too bad. Hit the like button on YouTube. That's a big help, as is commenting and all those other things. So, yeah. Thank you very much. So moving on to the shows in development, the new show news, all that sort of stuff. Comedies and half-hour things first. Start with HBO Max. Ophelia Lovibond, or maybe Ophelia Lovibond, if I'm pronouncing her name right, is set to lead HBO Max's comedy pilot called Minx. That's Minx, just in case my accent disguised that a little bit for everyone. Minx. From writer Ellen Rappaport, Paul Feig's Feigco Entertainment and Lionsgate TV. So, written by Rappaport and directed by Rachel Lee Goldenberg, the half-hour Minx is set in 1970s Los Angeles. You know, it's interesting getting period pieces for these half-hour comedies. It's interesting because it makes them a bit higher budget, because typically a half-hour comedy is a cheaper endeavour. You know?
It's becoming less unique.
Yeah, it's not, because you got Globe in the 80s and Netflix, you got other ones. That's the first one that comes to mind. But it's happening more often. Yeah,
but I'm seeing it around now. Is the point? It doesn't feel like that's your selling point anymore.
But it's set in 1970s Los Angeles and centers on Joyce. Joyce, just like Joyce Summers, Buffy Summers' mother in the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I moved on so well earlier.
Wasted effort. An earnest young feminist who dreams of producing a magazine by, for, and about women, and joins forces with a low-rent publisher to create the first erotic magazine for women. Sounds raunchy.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it is as a TV show. I'm not sure how that functions episode to episode. But sure.
It's on HBO Max. If they want, they could have a lot of dick in this.
And they just might.
A lot of dick, page to page, dick to dick to dick to dick. All right, that's called Minx. Okay. Next up, HBO Max again has ordered a period comedy. It's called Our Flag Means Death, from Oscar winner Taika Waititi. Yeah, I'm interested. I'll pause after that name because
I need no more information.
Writer David Jenkins from People of Earth also involved.
Give me less information. I liked it more when I thought he was writing it as well.
Garrett and Garrett Bash from The Night Of and What We Do in the Shadows. Some good credits.
I'm back in.
Especially if that's a TV show version of What We Do in the Shadows, because
I'm assuming it is, because I think I'm under the impression off the top of my head the movie was written by Titi and Clement.
Yes, I thought that too. And I love the TV show. I freaking love What We Do in the Shadows, a TV show. I mean, the movie's good.
Still need to watch the second season, but I love what I've seen, and I have every confidence in anyone who works on that show. So,
created by Jenkins, who serves as showrunner. Our Flag Means Death is based loosely on the true adventures of Stede Bonnet. I assume that's how you pronounce it. A pampered aristocrat who's abandoned his life of privilege to become a pirate in the early 18th century.
Oh, I'm so in. Please tell me he's played by Watiti. That would be perfect.
It could be Stede Bonnet, just which is why I was questioning.
Yeah, I mean, aristocrat. He could be French.
Yeah, it could be Bonnet. Watiti will executive produce and direct the pilot, so he's setting up the creative feel at the start.
Yeah. I think it'd be way funnier if he was playing the main guy. I can see it already.
He's doing too much stuff to be the lead actor in a 10 episode show or whatever this is.
Yeah. We've got whatever Star Wars stuff he's working on to be excited about first.
We've got Thor 4 before that crap, quite frankly.
I mean, I say that's probably one of the only Marvel films I'll actively like. Yeah, I'll go see that.
So, next up, Freeform. Oh, everyone always loves Freeform. Is developing a show called Golden Boy, a half-hour dramedy from On My Block. Co-creators and executive producers Eddie Gonzalez and Jeremy Haft. LeBron James, the Spring Hill Company, is producing. And is that the same company? Because LeBron James... what else is he producing that's really weird? Is it Friday the 13th? There's something that... I think it's LeBron James wanted to make a Friday the 13th movie, which is like one of the weirdest news stories. I mean, this was like 2 years ago, before all the legal disputes.
That is not a sentence I expected.
But it was such a... If it wasn't LeBron James, it was definitely a basketball player wanted to do a Friday the 13th movie.
Who was the basketball player who had won like an Oscar for the short film? I don't know who that was. I don't think it was LeBron James.
I don't think it was either. I can't remember.
I remember hearing a few stories of him producing things not long after that.
But hey, so written by Gonzalez and Haft, Golden Boy centers around Ricky the Big Heart Hurtado. Okay. A generational NFL prospect with an ego to match. He suffers a very public and humiliating flameout, so returns home as a failure with no clear future. The Big Hurt is determined to rebuild his fractured relationships and his family and the community that once showered him in love and support, but now hate him. I was starting to slow down a little bit. I was like, are they going to say professional?
I was waiting for it as well. I was like, this is, don't get me wrong, this is boozy, but I would get a proper drink if they pulled it out.
Yes. Yeah, if my voice is a bit rough, I've got a bit of a sore throat. I might be dying in times of pandemics.
Can you transmit via the internet? Because if so, I'm done with this.
I hope so. But I was also up very late because pre-orders for the PS5 on Amazon went up early in the morning, so I just stayed up for them.
It was a shit show.
It was a bit of a mess. So yes, Golden Boy, the thing. So that's that. And then still on comedies, by the way, ABC is put in development a script commitment with penalty for Happy For You, a single camera family comedy from former single parents, writers, producers Taylor Cox and Kim Rosenstock. So, written by Cox and Happy For You, when the youngest of three sisters announces she's getting married first, it sends her older unmarried sisters and their newly separated mother into an existential tailspin. Happy For You follows the family of Midwestern women as they confront their own failed love lives, plan a wedding, and try not to fake their feelings out on the flower arrangements.
Still no professionalism.
No. Do you know, I actually think that's a really solid premise for a sitcom that doesn't necessarily appeal to me, but I think obviously it'll develop. Let's say it runs for years. Obviously the wedding season one, and then from that it'll develop from there, and the younger one will probably have kids first, and that'll piss them off too, and so on and so on. But I think
the usual cliche sitcom.
Yeah.
Beats.
But it does have a really strong defined thing. It's like, no, younger sister is getting married first, so the older sisters, and then as a sort of added joke, the mother's also now single too, so she's pissed off with it as well. Yeah. But simple premise, I can see the comedy coming from it.
Sitcoms, especially in the last few years, love the intergenerational.
Yeah. But you know what I like about this though is that it's a really specific premise, but it doesn't feel like they're really trying for something too complex. Because sitcoms, I think, sometimes can be burdened by the weight of their over-the-top premise. This is nice and simple. It's younger sister is getting married. That's it. It's
something we haven't spoken about in a while on this show. We do it every so often when it comes up. Sometimes sitcom descriptions can sound boring as shit, but those can be the very best sitcoms.
Yes, because the comedy is not about the premise, it's just about the characters who live in the world.
Often the premises that sound the most interesting, the high concept ones, fall really flat because they run out of steam with their idea after a couple of episodes. And it's like, well, what now? And they haven't got the rest of it to back it up because they've relied on their core concept too much. We've seen it many, many times.
Yeah. I mean, the writing in this could be terrible for all I know, but on surface level, that seems like a solid, simple premise for a sitcom. So
it seems like a traditional network sitcom, which I still like.
So moving on then, getting away from the comedies, starting off with something a little bit weird. This is one we digged a little bit deeper into the weeks we missed here, but Greg Berlanti is producing the Powerpuff Girls, a live-action reboot of the Powerpuff Girls for the CW. And I have to admit, I'm starting to feel old here because this was kind of after my time as a kid, so I have never seen a Powerpuff Girls thing.
It was in my time. I mean, I'm only a couple of years younger than you, but
yeah,
in my time.
It was kind of weird. Maybe there was some people my age who, but when it came out, I was like, I'm already too old for this. Like that was my attitude, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I never saw it. Maybe like anyone who's my age who happened to have like a younger sister, just by a couple of years, probably suffered it. But
yeah.
I never saw Powerpuff Girls.
I watched it because it was on that Cartoon Network block with whatever else was on at the time that I was watching, and I was like, well, I'm not going to turn off for 20 minutes and watch something else. I'll just leave it on. And it was very enjoyable for what it was, actually. Quite a creative little superhero show, ultimately.
Yeah. So Diablo Cody's actually behind this as well. Obviously, she worked in Juno and the United States of Tara. Obviously not our Tara, she's Canadian, but... I'm sorry.
such a weird little insert.
That was a good joke, all right? I thought, I was like, oh, I'm doing something with that title. Also Heather Raynor from Veronica Mars. Obviously not the showrunner from Veronica Mars, but yeah, I don't know what to expect from this. I mean, it's a CW show. So.
I think the core thing was, correct me if I'm wrong, because I've not got it in front of me now, it was them grown up as like 20-something ex-superheroes annoyed that their childhood was stolen from them, essentially.
Yeah, it's the adult versions of the 3 kindergarten age girls from the classic animated, which is kind of weird because they're loosely saying that the animated series is in continuity.
Yeah,
loosely.
I cannot wait to see the CW take on some of their villains. That I don't know if you can visualize any of their villains, but you have Mojo Jojo, which, from what I recall, is a green monkey with like a brain in a jar on the head.
I mean,
I think, or is he the one with the turban? Either way, and then you've got the big red demon thing.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
This is mostly probably just going to be like a sexy kind of thriller like Riverdale about them being depressed about their past lives, and that's it.
Almost certainly, but I'm intrigued by the weirdness of them trying.
Okay. There you go. The Powerpuff Girls in development at CW. Back to HBO Max. HBO Max had a lot of news stories this week. So, the Westing game is getting a small screen adaptation from HBO Max and MGM being there. They've ordered the script for this one, so it's a little bit further than just in development. They've got a script order, so it's one little nudge further to the actual order itself. The classic novel, which was written by Ellen Raskin and first published in 1978, follows the bizarre chain of events that begins when 16 people gather for a reading of a millionaire. I assume that's maybe Will reading.
I'm assuming so.
Yeah. I have to admit, I do like a nice, group of characters in one location mystery.
It's the start of many a wonderful murder mystery.
Yeah. No one knows why eccentric game-loving millionaire Samuel W. Westing has chosen a virtual stranger and a possible murderer to inherit his vast fortune by playing one last game. I kind of like the sound of this, to be honest. There's a
Cluedo, the TV show.
Yeah, basically. And, Knives Out was kind of hitting on some of these beats.
Rejuvenated some popularity for the genre.
Yeah.
Because you had what was the Agatha Christie one a couple of years ago? Kenneth Branagh.
Oh, Murder on the Orient Express.
Yes, of course. Which did reasonably well, and people seem to enjoy it. And then, which again, very traditional murder mystery. And then you had Knives Out, which kind of played with all the same traditional beats, just did it in a fun, well-directed way. But it's the sort of thing we hadn't really seen for years before those, not on a high-profile way at least. It's interesting to see them kind of coming back into style a little bit.
Yeah, I love the idea of them, but sometimes I don't like how they execute them. Like I didn't really like the Branagh one that much, but
that's fair. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that was amazing. I just on high profile, bringing them into fashion. Yeah, and they can fail in their execution for sure.
Yeah, but no, I actually surprisingly like Knives Out, which is surprising for me because I haven't really liked anything else that Rian Johnson's done. So
that was such a good film. I mean, I'm often surprised by murder mysteries when I enjoy them. Like Clue, I was surprised by how much I enjoyed that.
Oh, Clue's good. But Clue, of course, doesn't take itself too seriously, which is part of the fun of that one. And I think what I like about this is that there's kind of a mystery of the person who's already dead that's sort of feeding into it. So I can see them having some good fun with that. So yeah, and it even say it's a mystery comedy, so that even gives you a sense of the tone that I'm probably going to shoot for. Which actually, I think honestly, keeping these lighthearted is, I think, the right move. I think
especially for a TV show, I think you can get away with it in a movie. I mean, you have to do it really well in a movie. Don't be wrong, but you can do it. I think in a TV show, if you take it too seriously, it just becomes a thriller, basically, like a crime thriller, like any other network show.
Honestly, this sounds more like Clue than anything else. I think that was an apt comparison because he's making them play a game.
That's what came to mind, and unless I was pleasantly surprised by that movie when I watched it.
So, moving on, Jessica Chastain has been cast in a...
I will sit up. Interest is peaked.
It's not the only thing that's peaked by the sounds of it. Is standing by her man as she saddles up to play the First Lady of Country Music, Tammy Wynette, who I've never heard of course. Have you heard of Tammy Wynette?
No, I mean, for all I know, this isn't even a real person.
This is a Spectrum original coming from Viacom CBS.
Spectrum?
Spectrum, isn't that the same place that the Bad Girls or the Bad Boys spin-off?
Oh, is that where that ended up?
I think. Well,
what was that called in the end?
No, they ended up getting. I think it aired in the US on Fox ultimately,
right? But
aye. Maybe I'm mixing it up with something from Canada. I don't know. But anyway, this is George and Tammy is based in the book The Three of Us Growing Up with Tammy and George, written by the couple's daughter, Georgette Jones. That is such a southern name. Georgette Jones.
That's a cruel name.
I know. It will chronicle the country music power couple whose relationship inspired songs such as We're Gonna Hold On and Golden Ring. Never heard of any of these either.
I might know him if I heard him.
Wynette was married to George Jones for 6 years between 1969 and 1975. So Chastain's going to be maybe doing some singing in this.
I'm sure I've heard her singing something or other before. Maybe it was like it's some interview chat show thing. Yeah. I'm sure she'll be perfectly good.
I'm sure this is going to be on Paramount Network in the US, I think, because they tacked that on at the end there. So I think Spectrum might be a Canada thing, and then Paramount Network will be the US home for it.
Spectrum original.
Hey, just you wait. We're going to have some Peacock originals soon. Not today, but we're going to have news about Peacock originals before too long. Peacock originals, Prime originals.
Every time I see something that reminds me that Peacock exists, I do smile to myself a little bit that, oh yeah, that's a thing that they thought was a good idea.
Next up, ABC has given a 10-episode straight-to-series order for Rebel. It's a Katie Seagal starring drama inspired by the life of activist Erin Brockovich, which also had a movie called Erin Brockovich, which is why I know who it is.
I'm sure that you are not the only one.
I mean, I've never seen the movie, but it's a very memorable.
It was high profile enough that you know it.
Like, I'll be honest, I think I only remember it exists because of the Lonely Island song where what's his face, the singer Michael Bolton, is doing the movie bits, and he says, I'm a something, and Erin Brockovich is my name. Like, that's why I remember the name Erin Brockovich.
I mean, there are worse reasons to remember things.
Because they get sick of him doing the Jack Sparrow, so he starts cycling through other movies, and that's one of the ones he does. Anyway, so it's coming in 2021. Producer showrunner Krista Vernoff is going to be on there. So, yeah, there you go. Rebel.
I got little to say about it.
No,
there wasn't actually much information there.
Katie Seagal's actually a really good actress.
Yeah. Actually, if there's a good script, good direction, this could be a good, solid drama.
Yeah. Sticking with ABC, they've put in development In the End, a drama from Pose co-creator Stephen Canals and his Story Ave Productions. Written and executive produced by Canals, centers on Keona Brown, who, incapable of living life to the fullest, makes the only logical choice to embrace death as an end-of-life doula. With an eclectic list of patients, including cancer survivor Mariana Cortez, Keona soon discovers the secret to a new beginning is to embrace what happens in the end. That is like so vague. I don't even understand what she's doing.
I'll be honest, I kind of zoned out because it felt like it was going around in circles.
Yeah.
Like intentionally, like I get what their sentence structure was. It was like it was this, but like that, and then it comes back around to this. But I'm like, I just couldn't follow it.
Yeah, there you go. In the end, if Linkin Park doesn't play in the pilot episode, they've done a mistake.
I could go to listen to some Linkin Park right now.
They've done
I haven't done that in a while.
One thing, I don't know why, and so on and so on.
Please don't ruin this song for me.
Hey, there was a time in high school where I could have done every lyric to that song.
Oh, me too. Me too.
All right, and then last up, I hadn't seen this one. Connor insisted that I add this into the story here. But Marisol Nichols, who played Veronica's mum on Riverdale, is developing a show based on some of her real life where she... How
much of this did you read when I sent you it?
Basically none of it. So back in April, she revealed she'd been working with the FBI and other authorities in a number of child sex stings around the globe for the past 6 years, which is a very weird thing to casually just... Oh, by the way, I've been helping the FBI, arrest
on the
trafficking
side while she's been on Riverdale.
Yeah. So she's going to develop a show based on those experiences, which, to be fair, is a pretty notable thing. So maybe, yeah,
it is, and you can say, hey, this sounds like a Riverdale plot, right?
It does. It's actually bonkers. I mean, obviously, good. I'm
do you know
glad
why it sounds like a Riverdale plot? Because it is a Riverdale plot. They did this on Riverdale, apparently.
Oh, did they?
They literally did this. I don't know if they did this intentionally because some of them knew what she was doing and they could have put it in there, or if it was a weird coincidence.
Do you know what's so funny is I saw season 1 of this show, right, and maybe a couple episodes of season 2.
And then it went places.
I don't remember her character ever having her own plot that was kind of like her own driving thing. Never mind, she's doing sting operations for the FBI.
Yeah. To be fair, that show, after we left it, then has actual resurrections. People died and came back to life. That was not the show we watched for the first season. It was trashy as shit, don't get me wrong, but it was not that. It went places.
Oh, man.
It went... Every so often, I'll read a story about Riverdale, and I'll be like, what the hell did this show turn into? And there's a morbid curiosity to just watch it.
It baffles the brain.
I'm just sorry, I lost my train of thought during that, and I got very annoyed because Spotify, how bloody dare it, put on the worst song ever because it's on shuffle on random things, and it went on to something similar, and it is my most hated song of all time, thanks to the last 6 months, and I'm annoyed at Spotify now.
What's the song?
Dance Monkey.
I don't know what that is. So
you are truly better off in life than I am now.
No. So that pretty much does the news. So we will we will wrap up. We will say thank you, and obviously point out some of the things we reviewed. Obviously, ongoing right now is Lovecraft Country, which we have been loving. That's been reviewed every basically it's usually every Tuesday that goes up, the review. And then of course we've been doing The Boys season 2, which after a couple of shakier episodes, the last 2 have been really good, and that's weekly now as well, even though it's on Prime. So those reviews tend to go up on Saturdays, so look for that. We are trying the Ratched pilot tomorrow at the time of recording, so that'll probably already be
kind
up.
of begrudgingly, let's be honest.
Yeah, actually that won't already be up. It'll be up to it's probably going to be safely up tomorrow for when this goes up as well. So yeah, it's up tomorrow, the review. we're pretty, sure that that's not going to go past episode 1 for us, but we're going to give it a try, see how it is, and see what's going on. So look for that. But there's other stuff coming up soon. So
Wait, is Star Trek Discovery on this month? Did you put that in the wrong month, or is that sooner than I realized?
I think it's sooner you realize, because I was checking dates like the other day, and
holy shit, I thought that was like mid-October that was coming, not sometime in September.
All right, just a quick insert here before it moves on to whatever we talked about next, which is just the outro, I think. But double checking that Star Trek Discovery thing. The mistake, because it is October, it's October 15th, so we're still a month away from the show coming back. The mistake that was made by me, admittedly, but on Metacritic, what I was looking at for the release dates, CBS is airing season 1 starting next week, and that's the date I was seeing.
Okay. It's an honest mistake.
It doesn't say Star Trek season 1. The only reason why I can tell that's what it is because when I read the description, it said broadcast the premiere of Star Trek Discovery, which previously streamed in 2017. I was like, oh, it's just re-airing season 1. Okay.
And I bet it doesn't have the new release tag that most stuff on Netflix does, right?
It does not. No.
Easy mistake to make. You see Discovery, you see a date, you went, that must be it. Because why would you expect it to randomly be airing on CBS?
Yeah, I didn't know it was doing that. So
yeah, no, yeah. I'll let you off.
Yeah,
but glad to know I wasn't going crazy.
In my defense, though, when I go down to the actual date on CBS All Access, it doesn't say new next day either. So.
Oh really?
Yeah. So it's not consistent with that.
I was under the impression new seasons did, but okay.
But yeah, just wanted to clarify that before the comments crucifies. And it is worth mentioning, if you like our classic TV reviews, obviously me and Carl have been working through Star Trek for a long time now. We're season 4 Next Gen, so we're getting up there in the numbers of that. Me and Tara have been doing Twilight Zone. Me and Tara did just start working through Babylon 5 this past week, so that's another classic show that's going to be ongoing week to week as well. So have a look at that if you're interested. Whether you're revisiting it because you love it or because you think it'd be cool to watch it for the first time along with us and enjoy it. So there you go. Yeah, we mentioned Patreon earlier. Of course, get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. Once again, please do like, subscribe, comment, all the usual things. All those things do help us out a lot and help us find more people. And we're actually getting very close, like months away at most, to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, which we may have to try and celebrate in some way, and I'm not sure how, but
we'll put a little banner behind us.
It
might be virtual, but we'll see.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. That's the TV news. So thank you all once again. We'll see you next time. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?